Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal-Royal products, or Cal-Royal SH-140-32D. This is a 4.5 by 4.5 inch single acting spring hinge, full mortise, standard weight, stainless steel base in a satin finish. So first things first, the initial impression, right before I put my fingerprints on it, is that it's a nice clean looking hinge. Very good fit and finish on this hinge. When you get it, you look at it and say, yeah, that looks pretty good. The SH stands for spring hinge. The -140 is part and parcel of the part number. That means this hinge. The 32D in the part number, that means two things. It means that it's stainless steel. It's solid stainless. The spring that's in there is not stainless steel. It's certainly a steel-based hinge, but it likely has a, I'm not sure, but I would be surprised if it didn't have a rust inhibitive coating. There are, specialty coatings that they put on things like that, and I'm sure that that would have it. If it's absolutely crucial that you know if it does or does not, by all means reach out and I will get the technical information. Means two things. It means the 32D means stainless steel and that it has a brushed finish versus a polished finish. 4.5, 4.5, that's a reference to the size. That means this hinge is 4.5 tall, and the height is the first dimension, always on hinges like this. It matters. If you had a 4.5 by 4, you need to know that the first dimension is the height. 4.5 wide. Okay. Single acting, that means that it will close the door in one direction only. It's not for a double acting door. Full mortise. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaf there that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the door and frame. Standard weight, that means that the leaf thickness is 134 thousandths. That's considered standard weight for commercial hinges. There's heavy weight too, but you really don't see those in spring hinges at all. Stainless steel base, satin finish. Okay, so there is a link below this video to a document called Template, and that is going to give you all of the important dimensional properties of the hinge. And we're going to pull that up. So it will show you the dimensions we've discussed, but also the locations of the screw holes. These are considered template pattern, that they match a industry standard called template pattern. Okay, there is then below this video, refers to the quantity of 8 screw holes, the fact that you're going to get machine and wood screws. Generally what you'll get on these is all machine and half wood screws. I can see that this package includes all 8 wood screws and all 8 machine screws, but generally it's 4 wood screws and 8 machine screws is generally what you'll get. Below that description, in the extended detail below this video, gets into how many hinges you need. So you can see from that table, and it will be, if your hinge comes in a box, and it doesn't always, but it generally does, it'll be printed on the back of the box. If you have a door up to 70 pounds, they're looking for 2 spring hinges and 1 standard hinge, and indeed ball bearing hinge, by the way. And indeed, you can mix and match this with standard ball bearing hinges because the vertical axis of pivoting is would be plumb with a standard commercial grade hinge of the same size and of the same leaf thickness. You're going to want to put that hinge in the ball bearing hinge if you're using it up at the top, and then put your spring hinges middle and bottom is what you'll do. Okay, now if you're doing, well actually, correcting myself, up to a 115-pound door, you're going to do 2 spring hinges. Anything over than that, 3 spring hinges is going to be recommended. Now the bottom line is this. You're dealing with up to 3068 or 3070 doors, wood, hollow metal doors. You're going to see 2 spring hinges. That's pretty common and typical. It is certainly not a bad idea that you have 3, but 2 is common. The argument for having 3 is well, partially these spring hinges aren't that expensive to begin with. But when you have additional spring hinges, or you opt towards being, conservative with your expectations of performance, you're better off having more spring hinges, because what you allow to have happen is that you've got the workload shared against more than one spring hinge or more than two spring hinges. When the door opens, you're going to store all that energy in the spring that's behind here, and when you let the door go, that energy is going to be released. Well, that last 20 degree is pretty crucial to getting the door not only closed but latched. And if you have a fire rated door, not that you would use a stainless steel hinge on a fire rated door, you would need a ferrous based hinge for that, a steel based hinge, not the 32D. If you're not self-closing and if you're not self-latching, then you technically don't have a fire-rated door. I have found a greater amount of control over the door, even though springs are really no true control over a door really at all. I prefer hydraulic control, where you can literally tailor the force by which it is not only opening but closing. When you get down to that last few degrees, and if you're not latching the door, you have a problem with it being a fire door. If you are setting the tension so high just to get some inertia, because keep in mind the hinge has to overcome the weight of the door, the width of the door, all the air pressure that it encounters, the resistance of the latch bolt hitting the strike plate, any air pressure conditions that exist. It's asking a lot of a spring hinge to do, and if you're underpowered in the spring hinge department, you may not find that you're able to, get it done successfully. So I liken it to a tugboat. They don't go very fast, but they can pull a lot of weight, and having extra spring hinges on reserve is always a better thing. It also allows you to control doors that will see different environments throughout the seasons. If this is an exterior door on, say, a 3-flat condo building, the conditions in the winter are different. You're going to have different air pressure. The window in the back of the building might be closed, whereas in the summertime, that's all different. So the landlord or manager can go and tailor those spring hinges. So I've made, I think, an adequate argument for multiple spring hinges, but the truth is this. For typical doors, you're going to see 2. That's just the bottom line, and that does work quite well. Up to then 150-pound doors, they want 3 spring hinges is the bottom line to that. Now, also, moving on to the link to the installation and usage guide. Okay, that installation and usage guide is going to basically tell you how to go about, setting the tension on the spring, and that is on the other side of the box, should your order come in a box. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because the document is there. When you have the hinge, the first thing you do is to just simply hang the door. When the hinge comes to you, there won't be any tension set on it at all. Get your door hung. Now, this model of spring hinge is a bit different than others. You're going to get an Allen wrench. You're going to get a tension rod. You're going to get a tension pin. This package has 2 because this client's order has 2 hinges on it. Setting the tension can be accomplished by inserting the Allen wrench into the top of the tension collar, or inserting the tension rod into one of the holes. Now, install the hinge, hang the door with the tension collar pointed towards the top. You can install it towards the bottom, it really doesn't matter. But for this example, when the tension collar is pointed towards the top, you'll rotate your tension collar clockwise, is what you'll do. So I'm going to just poke my tension rod out of here, out of the end of the package, insert it, and then turn it clockwise. And as I do that, I reveal new additional holes, and it's into one of those new additional holes that you insert one of those short little tension pins. 3 holes maximum is really what you're going to be dealing with if your door is going to be going well out beyond 90 degree. If your door's, like 140, 150 degree. If your door's at 90 degree, you can kick that up to 4 or 5 holes. If you hear any creaking, that's a telltale sign of you might have too much tension set on the hinge. And if you know that you don't, then you are permitted to get a little lubricant in there just to coat that spring. And if your hinges are a bit older, you might develop some creaking, and that's just oxidation on the face of the spring. You can safely get some lubricant in there and just wipe it clean, and you'll be in good shape. That is the method by which you set the tension on the hinge. And quite frankly, it's as simple as that. You're going to test, you're going to be conservative, test your operation. You don't want it to slam. That's not a good idea. And there you go. I guess the last thing I'd like to point out to you, I had mentioned earlier about how I like the fit and finish. I do. My only reservation is, quite honestly, I wish the Cal Royal logo was just a little bit smaller, perhaps more elegant. But gosh, that is a very small thing to mention, given all the other positives. Great cost, great fit and finish, high performance product, backed by a company who has excellent customer service and technical support, and incredibly reliable and predictable shipping lead times. And very deep inventory. That's actually a significant understatement, deep inventory. They generally have it all the time and in quantity. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line product catalog and review all things from Cal Royal, not only hinges, but lock sets, exit devices, door closers, builders hardware, and their offering only continues to grow. What seems like every quarter they have significant additions to their product line. Any questions on the SH-140, 32D spring hinge, or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.